Right. So basically, Noah Hawley was on the Emmys red carpet, and this is a really good interview from various outlets that were speaking to him. It's all compiled together. And he reveals a hell of a lot actually about Alien Earth. And I thought it was worth, discussing about and having a conversation. I'm in this I'm a fan, obviously. So, I want to hear someone else's opinion who's potentially not such a high-end fan. I say high-end, but deep into the lore, that sort of thing, to get your thoughts on it all. And also you guys in the audience as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But I was very happy when I heard some of this stuff. It really did make me very excited. So, speaking, he goes, it's an epic production. There's something about seeing a xenomorph in the wilds of Earth with your own eyes. That is truly chilling to think of it moving here among us. And so I can't tell you under what circumstances you'll see it, but you'll see it. And you're going to lock your door that night. So I'll say these little snippets, and I'll let you sort of chime in on what you think of each one. So over to you now, Culture.
Wow, I think that's kind of exciting. I mean, we've often talked about this, and my hope was that we'd end up with this kind of terrifying moment where people literally were self-quarantining because these things were out amongst them, and they could replicate so very quickly. And I think it's fascinating. I'm curious because there could be a variety of different types of xenomorphs, which is what this
reply to the very
okay. All right. I'm just interested to see this. I think much like seeing the Predator move about humanity, I think it's about time we've had this as well. So there's that.
All right. Yeah. So he says the following: what was really fun for me was to really engage with the creature, bring some of my own thoughts to its design, whilst not touching the silhouette, because that's sacrosanct. But some of the elements, as we know, whatever the host is, informs what the final creature is. I just wanted to play around a little bit to make it as scary as it should be. So there you go. There's your little bit.
Okay.
The variant.
So can I say that
now you can.
If the human is the host, that's going to be amazing because we got a little inkling of that in Romulus. I'm not really sure I liked the look of that creature and kind of having a spooky engineer look to it. But
no, he's talking about just normal. Like if a human is the host of a xenomorph, it's just a normal xenomorph. He's talking about he's not talking about that. He's not talking about the black goo. He's talking about. So this is the interesting thing. So from an outsider perspective, you'll probably have no idea what this is. He's talking about other creatures
like
that
bears
a face latches onto.
Yeah, like a bear or a zebra,
a bear, a mantis,
a
spider, maybe all manner of things. So up there, I've got recreations of the Kenner toy line, and one of them is the gorilla xenomorph, which is epic. So he's talking about literally saying, "Oh yeah, like we're having multiple different hosts of these xenomorphs. We're going to have different xenomorph variants." So in like Alien 3, for instance, it was, the dog or the bison in the director's cut. So he's literally talking, and that gave us the runner xenomorph. So he's talking about different, animals that the
like a whale
latches onto.
like a whale.
It could be anything.
That'd be amazing.
There were shark xenomorphs in one.
Oh wow! Okay, spooky. Man,
well, I think it's great personally.
Well,
I'm very, very happy to hear, because that's right from a fan's perspective, right? From my perspective, anyway. What made the xenomorph the perfect organism was the ability to, because it has the DNA reflex, so it has the ability to take aspects of the local fauna and adapt itself to the planet that it gets put on, which again, makes it part of the perfect organism, because it will be able to put itself directly into that planet's fauna, instantly adaptable already. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's one of the most fun parts, actually, of the Xenomorph. You know, the facehugger isn't solely meant for humans. It's for whatever it can latch onto, whatever it can impregnate. I love it. I think it's great, and I like this part as well, where he's like, "Yeah, got to play around with it to make it as scary as it should be." Oh yes,
It's pretty terrifying to think about that. So, yeah, pretty terrifying. I love it. How are there more of this? Oh, there's more. Holy cow. Okay.
oh yeah, there's more. Yeah. This is what I meant. Like, just yeah. So he
Nice.
says it delivers everything that a great alien movie delivers,
Mhm.
and then there's a whole other world to it. Because of course the movies are survival stories, and that's great for 2 hours. But if you're coming to make 30 or 40 or 50 hours of it, he's talking about multiple seasons here,
Right.
there's got to be a larger dramatic story. My response to that is, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like, yes, you do need a larger dramatic story. Um, you can't have what would be a alien movie stretched for 8 episodes, 8 hours, if they're hour long, for instance. Like
Right.
you just wouldn't be able to. It would become a procedural. Who's going to get killed off this week, because you're working within the confines of just that sort of alien movie. So it's like, oh, well, who's going to die this week? It's like, you do need a larger narrative at play to to be the vehicle for which the xenomorphs can do can wreak their havoc upon our characters. So I like that personally. I know some people will take that as, and you know what? Probably rightly, by the way, some people will take that as, so this means we probably won't see much xenomorph. You know what? We might not. We might not. It like that's not necessarily a bad thing either. How much xenomorph did we get in the original Alien? Not a lot, actually. Horror is the fear of the unknown. Constantly seeing the alien doesn't make it more scary, but it makes it less scary. So, like Hellraiser, for instance, the Cenobites are barely in it, right? But they're a presence that you feel. As long as you feel the presence of the horror element of, a movie, a series, whatever, then that's what matters. Predator, Olaf says in the chat again, yeah, exactly the same kind of thing, right? Predator's barely in Predator. You see him here and there, but it's that presence, it's the stalking presence that matters. So I don't hate this. What do you think?
I think it's great. I mean, and again, we started to get rumors that he was planning for the next 10 years of his life because he thought that this would run for a long time. So the fact that he's already thinking ahead to, 40, 50 hours, that's 5 seasons right there. I mean, because I don't imagine there's more than 10 episodes a season, but
No, well, I can't imagine so. I mean, it is also, it's FX, isn't it? FX and Hulu. So
yeah, I
I can't
mean, how
imagine.
how many episodes was The Bear? I mean, was that 8 episodes or 10 episodes or something?
I don't know actually off the top of my head. I think
Yeah.
they're 8, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, so I mean, well, that gives you an idea that maybe he wants to go 6 or 7. I mean, he actually did talk about a decade of work on this. So
Yeah.
that's a good sign, and I think it also shows that not only is he committed to it, but I think maybe whoever's running effects for Disney now has been doing a great job, but I think they're committed to it as well. So
Yeah. So he says also, this is really reassuring. He says it's a huge production, probably double the budget of anything I've ever made. We're filming in Thailand. We had a nautical unit at one point. It's a big endeavor. But I heard Denis Villeneuve say that he could never have made Dune unless he'd made every other thing before Dune. And I feel similarly, you're just scaling the problems up, but you've solved them all before. I mean, my take home from that is, one, it's the biggest, it's the biggest, double the budget of anything he's ever made, right? So I don't know what he's had, which is his highest budget before this, but double that. He has made some very relatively high end things. Fargo, for instance, that wouldn't be such a high budget, but he also did Legion. I'd imagine that might be the highest budget. I don't know. But double the budget of anything he's made before, that's great. Having a nautical unit's great. Sounds brilliant to me.
yeah. That sounds that kind of piqued my interest. I was it generated a lot more intrigue because there's a reason that they had to have that. So now we're at
Mm.
water. What are we going to have water creatures involved? I mean, I was
I hope
joking when I
so.
said a whale. Well, I was joking when I
I
said a
hope
whale.
so. I'm game for it. So he says
Okay.
this: as much as we're building upon their work, the extended storytelling means that we can do something different with it, and that's whether he's spoken to Ridley Scott or Sigourney Weaver about it all, and he's like, no, basically. And he also says further, I talked to Ridley. His company Scott Free is a producer on the show, and you know, Ridley is the man. He's the creator of this franchise. He's come back to it later in his career, but you know, like the Coen brothers, he was very respectful of the fact that I seem to know what I'm doing and I have my own take on it. That's the thing with these films, it's that they take on a life of their own. And at a certain point, you have to take a step back and let them be what they want to be. So he's literally saying, no, Ridley Scott had no involvement in this. Which will make a lot of people very, very happy, by the way, obviously. Understandably. Thoughts? Over to you,
Hey,
Culture.
I look. I mean, you do have to make projects your own. You have to live within the lore. It sounds like Ridley Scott thinks he's going to do a fine job. He has done a fine job in other things that he's done. We've talked about him before. So
Mm.
I just as long as he doesn't cross too many creative boundaries, I think that sounds great. It sounds like he already has an idea though, based on the first thing that you read to me, or the second thing, talking about the take on what the xenomorph
Mm.
look is, the look and feel. He would leave it's sacrosanct, the shell, the form.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And then just to round it up, he says, look, I'm editing right now. I haven't seen all of them yet, but we're wrapped and it's looking great. The cast is phenomenal and you can't go wrong with some aliens. I'm very happy with how it turned out.
yeah,
Mostly practical, he says, about the alien effects. I prefer that. Obviously, there's some CG, but I always want to feel it in the space and have the actors reacting to real things. I had a guy in a rubber suit. I had Wetter working for me. It's so exciting. Anything Wetter is working on, they are amazing. The fact that Wetter's working on this, that makes me really excited. That makes me really excited. Wetter is incredible with their VFX.
yep.
Absolutely amazing. Be it their practical stuff, their CG stuff, they're amazing. They are absolutely incredible. That is actually that and the variant Xenomorphs, that is the most exciting thing for me. Over to you.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get better. There's only like a handful of digital effects houses that, you could really throw complete trust into. Weta Workshop is one of them. So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me though if you want to make this look like it belongs, if you want to make it look like you have no disconnect from the films or anything. You've got to use high-end, top-end digital effects. So, I imagine there's going to be a lot of those. I mean, I can't see how they would get away without it. Especially if they're going to start tracking things that haul butt. It's
Yeah.
one thing to put a dude in a suit. It's another thing. It's another thing to make things look like they can haul ass. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, I'm well excited for this.
I am too. Yeah.
We've got a super chat here, kind of about this from Big Owl Games. Thank you so much. For $6.58 says, Yo, Hcast. I went to see Alien Romulus for a second time on Sunday, but this time I took my mum with me.
Yeah.
She remembers seeing Aliens when it first released back in the 80s, and she
Oh
loved
wow.
every minute of Romulus,
Oh
even
wow.
Andy's "You bitch" line.
Oh
Yeah, that
wow.
line is literally either a love it or hate it line, because
I think
people in
so.
my theater loved it. I groaned. I was like,
Me
ugh.
too.
But I had other people in my theater going, yeah. So seems to be a love it or hate it thing. Marmite. Because I don't know what Marmite is. It's a disgusting paste. Do you know what Marmite is?
No.
It is a yeast paste,
Oof. Okay.
and people put it on toast.
What?
It's what it is. All right. Like, you either love it. In the UK, the saying is, something's like Marmite because you either love it or absolutely despise it. Because people
All
either
right.
really love Marmite, this weird yeasty paste that they smother on things, or they hate it. with a passion. I can't believe I'm educating someone about Marmite right now. Anyway, there you go, guys. We will move on.